Sergey Baranov, welcome to If Plants Could Talk.
Thank you.
Yes. Grand rising to you, my friend.
Thank you.
So, tell me, Sergey, where in the world are you speaking to me from?
I'm in Sacred Valley of the Incas near Cusco, Peru, in the Andes, 10,000 feet in the sky.
Wow, that's beautiful. What a wonderful place to be.
Yes, yes, it's very beautiful here. It's what I call it inescapable beauty, which means you can't escape it. It's like anywhere you look, it's beautiful. Just you don't need to chase it. It's chasing you, you know.
That's wonderful. I imagine when it's not as developed, you're just surrounded by it.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. You know, we
Yeah.
live in a little town, but it's all wild here.
Yeah.
Condors, you know, pumas right there, but farther up, but they're still
Oh,
around, you
pumas.
know. Yeah. Not right here where we are, but just farther
Sure.
up,
Sure.
you know, but they
Sure.
are. You can feel the energy here. It's wild.
Yeah, I follow your Instagram closely and your property looks wonderful. I definitely would love to make it down there one day. It's definitely one of my destinations I would like to come to for sure. And it looks like you're doing wonderful work, the Lord's work. So thank you for that. And, I also started your book. We kind of planned this spontaneously. We had touched base a while back, a couple of years back now, I think. And I never really had time, but I finally started diving into it and I got sucked in, man. So I'm going to finish it for sure.
Which book is that?
Excellent work. It's the one the one, I think it's from 2019, 2020.
Yeah, the Cactus of Sanity.
Yes, that's the one.
Yeah, I wrote it in the lockdown here. There wasn't much to do, you know. Just taking medicine and writing. I mean, what else to do, you know? Everything shut down.
Sure. So before we get into that, maybe I can get some background info on you. So
Yeah.
where do you hail from originally?
Well, I born in Ukraine,
Okay.
and then at the age of 13 almost, we immigrated to Israel, and then with my parents, you know. And then when I was 24, I immigrated to California in search of spiritual enlightenment, which is a whole another story, you know. That's in the first book, if you want to read about my life in the cold, you know.
In a cult?
Yeah, I ended up in the cold.
Oh, fascinating.
Yeah. It's not what they admit to be, but that's what it is.
I see.
They call themselves different names, of course, but you know, of course.
That sounds like it could be a few episodes of that.
Oh, we can easily have a few episodes just on that, you know.
Yeah.
So I've been there 6 years, and then I just ended up in Peruvian jungle drinking ayahuasca, you know, a week after leaving. So that's how my Peruvian life has begun, actually, in 2005, end of 2005. And that was like a week after I left the cold, usually. I mean, actually, like a week.
Wow.
And then a week later, I'm like with Peruvian shamans, like purging my guts out in the jungle. It's like, whoa, okay, now we're talking. You know.
Yeah.
So that's a brief kind of synopsis of.
Sure. I imagine that was a very eye-opening experience coming from such an intense situation and then finding healing in that.
It was, yes, of course. It was probably more than just eye-opening. It was a total transformation of my consciousness, you know, my life. It's just, you know, when you are subjected to words and concepts about spirituality for many years, and it started before. I'm like a spiritual seeker from ever, you know.
Sure.
So when finally, you know, you reach a place where words become reality, you know, everything that you read about, basically, you start experiencing. That's a whole different dimension. You know, that's a whole new way to relate to reality when you're actually experiencing, you know, it's not even correct to say altered state of consciousness. It's limiting. it's technically correct because it's altered. It's not the same state of consciousness as we are now speaking. This is our waking consciousness. So when we take plant medicine, they change your consciousness. So what people can relate to is like altered state of consciousness, but it's beyond that. It's like, I don't use that terms. Like we don't use these terms. It's to me the same like psychedelics. We only use it as a reference so people can relate to it and understand what we're talking about, but we don't use this terms. This is like not fully descriptive, the altered state of consciousness. When you take medicine, it's so much beyond than just altered state of consciousness. Like, you know what I mean? When you drink vodka, you're in altered state of consciousness. You know what I mean?
Yes.
So we're not talking the same thing here. You know, this is the completely, it's a different dimension, the spiritual dimension in which you perceive reality differently. You know, so technically your state of consciousness is altered. It's not normal like you wake up in the morning, but it's just beyond that. It's a spiritual connection. You know, we can go deep into it.
Would you argue that you're tapping into something that's actually already there? Perhaps it's already always present and we're not able to tap into it without those altered states, for lack of a better term?
Yes, I think so. I think it's kind of, you know, it's a very deep subject. It's not like yes or no question.
Yeah, very nuanced.
There is more to it, and in my new book I speak about this as much as words can, you know, describe. But it's both yes and no, and I can explain what I mean by that. It's like the spirit world. It's always there. That's true.
Sure.
It's like God is always here. Whatever is God for you, man. It's all here right now. It's right now. I am in presence of God talking to you.
Yes.
The question is whether you're aware of that or not. And that's where the problem is. People in life, they're not aware of that connection because of many other factors. We can talk about that too, but this is just factual stuff, I'm telling you. We are not perceiving divine. That exists every moment, everywhere. So to answer your question, yes, it's there always at all times. We are not there. That's the problem. We are not there to perceive it. So when we take plant medicine, we connect to it. It open up that connection to spirits, which is there, that is not visible. So you take the medicine, it connects you to what is. And spirit is.
Yes.
That's it. So the answer is yes.
Sure.
Basically.
Sure.
But there is also no, you know, because it's not like they're right now in your state of consciousness that we're talking now. Like,
right.
It's just not there, you know, because you are not there. So when you are there, it's there.
Yes.
When you are not there, it's not there. That's the truth of it. So it might be confusing for people who are not really, who don't have this kind of experience, but that's as much as I can put in words.
Sure.
And to be honest about this.
Well, that's the beautiful thing that so many people find in plant medicine is an opportunity to commune with the divine and perhaps even come to believe in the divine. And that's something that it certainly did for me. It solidified it for me, at least in the very least.
Yes, oh, for sure. I'm coming from the 80s environment, you know, I'm born in Ukraine under Soviet regime. This is like living in communist China, you know. They actually copied that from us. So we were the original communists, you know, not me personally, but the place I'm from.
Sure.
So, you know, in this environment, you have zero spirituality. Like absolute zero. Like it would be hard for you to even understand that the extent of this insanity. You can't even understand. If you're born in a free country, you can't even understand that. It's just like the state is God. That's it. And your prime minister or whoever that is, that's who you worship. The state, the communist idea. You know, there's nothing beyond that. You know, you're born to serve the state, basically. You know, so in that environment to find anything spiritual, that's nearly impossible, especially back 40 years when I was there like a kid, you know. So which is another subject altogether. It's like how those ideas came to my mind when I was 5 years old, thinking about stuff like that, which was not stimulated by the environment. And that's just another conversation.
Sure.
But kind of, following what you're saying here. So spirituality is something you discover from within. And yes, when you do, it's something you believe in, because this is the real belief. This is not believing something that you're told to believe. This is the real belief that you come to from within, from your experience. I believe in what I see. I believe in what I experience. I don't believe in something that I cannot verify for myself, which, religious approach is more like that. It's like, you have to believe in an invisible God, and here you believe in what you experience. So it's experiential, it's embodied knowledge. You experience divine connection from within, in which you believe, because that's what it is. It's just what is. It's what's there. It's like you're sitting by the river, you look at the river, you believe in the river. So, and it's not even believe, it's there. It's like, it's not like you believe in the river. It's like, the river is there. You see the river. It's the same thing with divine connection. It's not something you believe in. It's like, you feel that. It's like you feel your connection with all that is. This is purely mystical state of consciousness, of which all the sages of the antiquity talked about. But talking about something and experiencing something is not the same. And that's a major subject of my books. Like pretty much in every book I speak about it differently. I'm not going to repeat myself, be redundant, but it's new ideas, but it's just kind of dancing around the same subjects, which I think important, kind of a key things to understand spirituality, and that's one of them.
I was reading in the Cactus of Sanity that you felt a calling at an early age, and that you weren't able to pinpoint it right away, but that you had always been obsessed with the supernatural and were curious about the supernatural, clairvoyance in particular, predicting the future. Can you run through some of that, what that calling was, and how it brought you to the cactus and shamanism?
That's true. I always felt that kind of sense of miraculous inside of me, as though I could feel that there is more to life than what I could see with my eyes. Even as a kid living in the Soviet Union, you know what I mean? So I don't know where this stuff came to me, but that's just truth that I felt it. It's like I remember being around 5 years old, trying to move a box of matches with my mind. Like literally, that was my meditation. Just kind of sitting and trying to move my matches, the box of matches with my mind, and trying to levitate that. 5 years old. Soviet regime, man. It's like, it's just like, I don't know. So this thing worked in me kind of. And as I was growing up, I never stopped thinking about this, like the psychic ability, and if there was a truth to it,
Sure.
I want to find out if that's true, or people just imagine this or lying, if it's true, if telepathy is real, and kind of sixth sense and things that are beyond the senses, and that was kind of a journey through life. I was really interested in that, and somehow I felt intuitively that in order to understand this realm as a whole, you need to change your consciousness. It's like you cannot understand that from the normal consciousness. I truly understood this when I was a kid. Like, of course, I was not eloquent as now. I could not explain all this stuff. But to boil this all down, it wasn't very different than what it is now. Truly, it just was more kind of simplified.
Sure.
But it wasn't different. I understood that the state of consciousness has to be expanded in order to receive and transmit a different kind of energies, and telepathy, which as well was one of those things. I just didn't know how to do it. So that's kind of maybe that's what, I don't know if that started my search, but it certainly contributed to the search, to develop my mind, to develop my ability. It wasn't enough for me just to eat and sleep and go to bathroom, It's like, it just wasn't, man. It's like, it
Sure.
wasn't enough. Even as a kid, I'm talking like it's a child now.
Uh-huh.
Child, we're talking child, 5, 8, 10 years old. You know what I mean? That never changed. It's the same thing now. For me, of course, it's a lot more. It's there is more to it now, but that's the same kind of essence. There's the same kind of tone that went throughout my life, And I also knew that I knew somehow that in order to change my consciousness, I need help. It has to be kind of external help in forms of something, So it has to be some kind of substance that changes the chemistry of the brain that allows for a different perception. So that was kind of my idea of this. Long before I got to anything. That's just an idea I was growing with. But that was like, it's a whole new dimension for a kid. You have to grow up, you have to explore, you have to understand, you have to learn. And then, of course, well, and I was also in sport all my life. So I was a very sporty guy, like martial arts and other things. So, my father, was inspiring me. He was a boxer himself. So that was very good education for me. But then at the age of 17, quite suddenly things change. And then, one day I'm in the ring boxing, and another day I'm already doing drugs with some weird people on the street. I don't know how that happened, and we're talking about some heavy drugs. We're not talking about smoking pot here, what I mean? So that just took me to a whole another avenue of a dark path that could lead to serious problems. And well, I was safe from that, and that I share that in the book too. I don't want to spoil the whole thing, but the thing is, like, my thing with drugs, that it wasn't really the same like for the other guys I was doing it with, It wasn't the same, although we were doing the same thing. But for me, there was a surge in it. I always knew that I'm searching for something. I don't just take a drug and just, just to forget myself, So that wasn't my thing. I wanted to open up my mind. I wanted to experience my consciousness, to experience reality in a different way, in a wider way. I knew that there can be more that we can just perceive through our senses, like normal waking consciousness. So I was doing different drugs, everything we had there, and none of that was satisfactory. It was also, I realized, even without the formal education on that, actually my education is like, it's a street education. It's like, that's the real education you learn yourself, I mean, it's good if you learn from others, but I wasn't wise enough to learn from others back then. So I was learning from myself. So I understood that, doing different things. And it's like, it's not that, it's not that, it's not that, it's not that. And you kind of go, it's not that. And you kind of think like, none of that is that. Everything that is there is not really there. It's kind of hinting to something, but it's not there. Like literally, my thirst was not satisfied, all the way until I got to ecstasy, the MDMA.
Yes.
That opened the doors, So after all the street drugs and all this, troubles and problems, finally I got to ecstasy pills, and that was where the magic starts for me, really. I understood the difference between them. That was not what we were doing before. That was the upward movement. All the drugs we did, they were downward. That was like a downgrade of your consciousness. It was a move into nothingness, into void, and that's what people like. But I hated this. It's like, man, I don't want to disappear. I want to appear. I want to be. That's like an opposite. I want to go to an opposite direction. But you know what it is. So the MDMA was really a beginning, and really become a big thing in my life, for years. And I thought, like, finally I found some magic pill, you know, to
Right.
contemplate reality, which was true at that time. It
Yeah.
was true, and there was magic in it. But the problem with it was that it was chemical.
Yeah.
So it's a chemical lens you're looking through, you know. It's just you see something, but it's like looking at the life from the aquarium, like you're swimming in the water with fishes and you kind of looking at the aquarium and just you see some faces there, kind of it's all there. You understand there is like life beyond your aquarium, but you not really clearly see that. You know what I mean?
Sure. It's like dipping your
So
toe in.
it's like, you know, this is good, you know, but it just gives me a few hours and then I'm depressed for a few days after that. It's like no good.
Uh-huh.
It's just like comes with a price, you know.
Yes.
But it definitely opened the doors. For
Mm.
sure. I have to admit that. And you know, true, that's truth. You know, it opened the doors to the whole dimension where I live my life today. So that was a bridge to psychedelic realms,
Mm.
you know, from that now on. That was like a key turning point. And then of course, following that, I begin to realize many things, you know, because I didn't really, of course, I went to parties and, you know, and trance party in nature, and it's all good and beautiful music, and, you know, it's all good, you know, but at some point I realized it's not enough. It's not enough for me anymore.
Mm.
You know, it's good to go rest and just kind of chill there, you know, but it's not enough. There was more. The
Yes.
search was, the hunger was strong, and I was looking for knowledge, you know, knowledge and wisdom. And so what I was doing is I was just taking MDMA and going by myself to the forest and kind of contemplating, stargazing, reading some ancient texts, and that was my thing.
Mm.
Sitting under the moon, reading Sufi poetry, you know, trying to understand life. So that was fulfilling actually. That was fulfilling, but it was not enough in terms of, you know, it's not long enough and it's not clear enough and it's chemical kind of taste afterwards. Like, okay, that's the best I have, so I do what I have, you know.
Yeah.
But then during that time, actually, I was around 19. During that time, a friend of mine, he introduced me to Carlos Castaneda work,
Mm.
and I was reading that basically like just swallow the whole thing. You know, it's like, and it was I think the first one was the journey. No, it was the teaching of Don Juan. So I read that at the age 19, full of on ecstasy, you know. And I read about peyote, I read about the cactus in Mexico
Mm.
and the shamans there, and I feel wisdom in it, and I feel truth in it. And it's like, man, I got to find this for myself. Like, this is real stuff. I need to go.
Mm.
And it's like a guy in Israel, and I'm 19 years old, no job, no money, no nothing. I mean, you know, just a street wonder, you know what I mean? So I need to go to Mexico, find Don Juan. That's it. It was very strong. It was so strong, man. It's like it was a burning feeling inside. I
Mm.
couldn't sleep. It was like I feel the truth. I feel the truth. There is path. There is a path, real path in life. It's there. It's
Mm.
this, you know. It came through peyote in Mexico, but at the same time also, it was but it's around the same time maybe. I don't remember which one. Maybe that was the first one. Then after that, another book of Villoldo came. I think it was the Cactus of Four Wings or the
Mm.
Dance of Four Winds. I don't remember the Dance of Four Winds or Cactus Four Winds. So that was his journey in Peru, describing basically his work with Huachuma cactus, which he called San Pedro because he didn't know the real name of it.
Mm.
But that's how people know it's a San Pedro cactus, but it's not really. We don't call it San Pedro cactus. We call it Huachuma because that's the original pre-Hispanic name,
Mm.
pre-conquest. So, but that talks to me just as much in a different way. But I feel like reading about this is like, man, this is real stuff. This is real. It talks to my heart. It's like I feel truth in it. There
Mm.
is path. There is real direct path to wisdom and knowledge. You know,
Mm.
unfiltered, just direct. And I just feel like, okay, I need to be in Peru too. I need to be in Mexico. I need to be in Peru. I need to take peyote. I need to take San Pedro.
Uh-huh.
That's it. That's how I felt. It felt so strong that I can't explain even how strong. It's like a serious, like a fire, like inner fire. You feel fire inside. Like you just feel fueled. You just know that this is what has to happen in your life. This is big thing. This
Beautiful.
is what you have to do. So, but that was impossible for me, like physically. It's just not possible, man. It's like from Israel to go to Mexico to look for Don Juan without speaking Spanish, without having any money. It just was like a dream at
Mm-hmm.
that time, but a very strong dream.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to wait, and I had to wait until I ended up in America, and from there everything became possible. But it has to be another stage, which was my life in California, 8 years, and my life in the cold, that's how I got to America. I didn't came to America to look for American dream. For me, I was far from all this. To me, it was a spiritual search. Following. It was a fourth way teaching I was following by the Gurdjieff, which just ended up in the cold in California. But there was a lot of lessons in it too, and it was important actually. And now I'm looking back and I understand that a part of who am I today is because of that thing,
Sure.
that 6 years there. Not just that, many life experiences, but certainly life in the cold, because I can explain people many things now, because it's part of my healing work now with people. I can explain you the brainwashing, the indoctrination, the mind control, and all this BS, So
Sure.
I it made me kind of an expert in the area without actual diploma, man. I'm not a deep programmer by any means, but I can definitely explain a few things, if you
Yeah.
want. So, but then I wasn't, life in the cold was like chaotic, but I never, what kept me sane there actually, it's the MDMA. I found MDMA there. I was just doing that, which was fully prohibited. Also, we were dropping acid there too. We were taking LSD there a few times with a friend, because but it wasn't my thing really. I like the ecstasy more. And
Me too.
well, it was the MDMA. It was in the California. It already was in capsules. In Israel, it still were. Back then in the 90s was pills.
Yeah.
In California, it was a pure powder in the capsules. So a bit different, but still good. That will keep me sane. While people going crazy in the cold and believing all this nonsense, I'm just taking psychedelics in the forest and thinking. I think like, man, how do I get out of here?
Sure.
But that's what kept me actually sane there. And during that time, I never forgot about my desire to get to plant medicine.
Yeah.
That was peyote at the time. So I thought like, okay, I'm much closer to it now. I mean, we're already here. This is just the next door. Mexico just down the road. You know what I mean?
Sure.
It's like life is different now. Like you just understand there's like there is a possibilities now that wasn't there. The doors can be open. Like you see the door. Now it's up to you to open. So I opened the door, but it didn't go. I didn't end up in Mexico right away. It began from Peyote Way Church of God in Arizona. It's a good run by good folks, and invite you good people. They're like very humble, simple peyote people from like 70s. This like old hippies, So from like 60 or something, So they built this church in the Arahuaipa Valley, and one of the founder was a Native American guy who helped to kind of make it legal for people, and he fought in the federal court for the right for people, for non-Indians to take peyote legally in America. That's the only place where you can do it, as far as I know. You can go there, you become a member. There's nothing there, and it's not like a church you have to go pray on Sunday. None of that. It's just a basic like membership. You just go doing a spirit spirit walk. They give you medicine, leave you in the desert. It's between you and the stars and the medicine. It's a very powerful way to work with the medicine. But you have to be ready for that. Like I
That's
wasn't.
peyote way. Is that what you
That's
said?
yeah. It's peyote way, Church of God.
Cool.
So they're in Arizona. They're still running. They still, it's a just very simple place in the middle of the desert. You come, stay over. They give you medicine. They give you firewood. You choose the place where you want to make a fire at night. You take the medicine and you just figure your life out. It's cool. If you're ready for this kind of experience, it's cool. And these are good people. I respect them. I respect their lifestyle. I respect their work with the medicine. So even though it's not exactly my way, I do it differently, but nevertheless, it works and it's good. So, and it's there when I understood that I'm really close. Like it was doing peyote there. And so like now I'm close to a tradition of peyote people. Like I just felt like I need to get into the traditional way. What they did is good, but I just feel like for me it's important to get into Mexico, get in that Don Juan energy field. You know what I mean? So I was led from there. I was led to Mexico and met people there. It's Huichols. These are the natives of Mexico, people who still work with peyote, like they did thousands of years ago. So it's an unbroken tradition that goes back forever, It's the same like Shipibo in Peru with ayahuasca. It's like two cultures that have unbroken lineage, thousands of years, seriously. Wonderful. And I ended up there, and my peyote journey really started there, like really deep, and it's been a year I was working with them. During that year, I came like 6 times. And on the 6th time, I almost died.
Oh my God.
There, so like literally I had to face my death. And it wasn't an ego death. That was actual death. I was, it was my shamanic initiation there, It was during the peyote ceremony, the peak of it, at midnight. I was stung by deadly scorpions.
No.
Bam, bam, for real, man.
Oh my God.
And spent 3 days in hell. 3 days. So there was no guarantee I will make through this, but that's what they say too. It's like, we know that you will make through, but if you make through, then the path will be open for you. But if not, then well, too bad. Try another time.
Next lifetime.
Next lifetime, man. So that's basically how it went down. I speak about this in the first book, Path, Seeking Truth in the World of Lies, for those who want to read about this. But this is when things are really, that was serious stuff. It's like when you face your death, and I was like 32. Like, man, I just found the road, found the way. Here's the medicine, here's the shamans, here's the wisdom, here's life, here's stars, here's fire. Explore and learn, be what you want to be, And here I am dying. Man, that's just not right, man. Yeah. It's just not right. It's like I just found a way through this labyrinth of life and just ready to begin, and here I am.
Yeah.
Dying in Mexico, in Sierra Madre, So 3 days of hell, no body, just pure consciousness. The body was nearly dead. And I made through this with a lot of efforts. Of course, peyote saved me. That's true. Peyote saved my life. That's true. But it also was my work, my inner, my strong love for life was there. I was pushing death back. It's like, no, I'm not going anywhere right now. When it's my time, I will not resist. But it's not my time now.
Yes.
So I'm not going anywhere. But that's easy said than done, man. I bet. When you're full of deadly venom and you're shutting down, man, that's very different, So I went through it. On the 4th day, I flew to California, still feeling electricity in my hands. But I felt like, okay, I'm back. I have survived this, and I didn't lose any of my sight, anything. Ability to talk, everything is there. I'm like back. Just feel a little bit wired up, of course, but I'm back. I'm functioning. So And after this event, after this initiation, let's say the path was open, and that was up to me to make a decision what I want to do with my life. And there was a few events after this, few signs came, and through animals. Also, in the first book, everything described in the first book. Path, seeking truth in the world of lies. The whole story there. And then in 5 months after this experience, I moved to Peru, which I always wanted to do from the beginning.
Right.
You know, and Mexico and Peru were done kind of in parallel. In Peru, I came here earlier. I came here already like big end of 2005, beginning of 2006. Mexico came 2008, so I was already doing 2 years medicine here. I was in Huachuma. Then peyote appeared. You know, it was like this in parallel. And when I came to Peru, I knew that I want to live here, man. This is Huachuma, is my medicine. I just fall in love with it from the first ceremony, and I realized that that's what I want to do in my life. That's the path I want to walk. So, but I didn't have the ability to come here. Didn't have enough courage. It takes a lot, you know. It's not easy, you know. And I'm like immigrant. I'm all my life. I'm just immigrating somewhere, you know. It's like, and you already settle, and it's like it gets harder in a sense. It's like, oh, again now, new language, new culture, everything new again. It's like you kind of get tired of this, you know.
So much
Like you get,
risk too. You're taking risk every time you move to a new place.
oh, of course, there's no guarantee that you will succeed. I
Sure.
came here with a full, you know, knowledge, full understanding, and full willingness to die here if I need to. It's like if I need to starve to death, I will. You know, it's not how I would like that to go down, but I'm following my passion for the medicine. That's what it is. I'm following my spirit, and if that requires me to starve and die, okay, so be it. I prefer to die, you know, on my knees than live on my. I mean, to die on my, you know, walking, standing, than, you know, living on my knees. You know,
Sure.
like in the Matrix. You know, like a slave to the system.
Mm.
You know,
Mm-hmm.
so I said, no way. It's like I'm going, whatever it takes. So I went. After 3 years, I went. But after this Mexican experience, you know, the initiation, there was so much understanding. You know, it's just like, nah, a fear cannot stop me. This is nothing can stop me. It's like I see the path and I walk the path. That's it. You know, so I moved to Peru in April of 2009. It's going to be 15 years in a few months.
Wow.
So basically, that's kind of to boil it down.
Yeah.
You know.
Well, Sergey, you have lived many lives, it sounds like, and going
Yes.
from the depths of the darkness with those more darker substances
Yes.
to initiating into shamanism and plant medicine. It gives you, I imagine you're very well equipped with the tools because so many different people from different walks of life are coming to you for healing. And there's a good chance you've walked some form of their path at some point with all of this
Yes.
nomadic lifestyle and the cult and the drugs and the darkness and immigrating and almost dying.
Yeah.
A near death experience.
Yes.
Oh, man.
Yes. I've been in many shoes.
Yes. Yeah.
That's why I can help many people,
Yeah, I imagine that
because
to be
I
true.
understand many different aspects of life, you know. So whatever you bring on the table, I can eat it.
Mm.
I can eat it, I can digest it, and I can talk about it
Mm.
pretty much, you know. So yeah.
At the end of the day, so do you feel that it sounds like you feel a much stronger connection with the Huachuma?
Yes, I felt it from the beginning that that's just my medicine. That's the
Mm.
main teacher. Peyote
Mm.
is also my medicine. I love peyote. It saved my life. It's amazing, beautiful medicine, powerful, very clear. It's amazing spirit. You know, I love peyote very much. But the call was coming stronger from here, from the
Mm.
Andes and from Huachuma. So I just answered the call that was coming stronger, you
Mm.
know. So I just felt like Huachuma, it's more me.
What do you
just
think
more me.
separates that experience about that particular medicine?
Like you talk about differences. What's
Yeah, well,
different?
what makes the Huachuma more significant to you?
I think it's just more ecstatic medicine, more joyous,
Mm,
more ethereal. Kind of, it allows you more. It's just like it's more playful. It's
uh,
as deep, as powerful, but it's a bit more playful. It's
okay.
just kind of more resonated with my spirit period. It's a bit more. I wouldn't say. I mean, they're both bland medicine. They're both truthful and clear. They both tell you the truth in a different way. A little bit. It's like Huachuma is a bit more gentle in its approach. You
Uh,
know, it's
I-
not weaker medicine. No, it's
sure.
extremely powerful. The way I do it is just it's the most powerful medicine you can have on our planet. If you even can handle what I'm doing, I mean, it's not what I'm doing. It's not what I'm giving to everyone. But the
Sure.
people with extreme experience, I can give them without worrying that they will lose their minds.
From my understanding,
That
the sorry to cut you off, the chemical
yeah.
compound overlaid over MDMA is almost identical, right? Like the
Uh,
molecule itself?
I'm not a chemist, so I can't really
Sure.
speak about the molecular structure. But from what I understood during my research, MDMA was kind of made kind of maybe they try to copy it in a sense.
Mm,
I mean, there's some kind of similarity. Yeah, that's why
sure.
when people, that's why when you take MDMA and then you come to Huachuma, you feel like you know this.
Mm,
You feel like, oh, I know this. It's a lot more clearer and a lot more everything. But I know this.
mm,
Yeah, no, I know this place. So there is a similarity between them for sure. It's like the MDMA is kind of a chemical sister of Huachuma.
mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Is
Yes.
Huachuma is the organic and ecstasy is the whole new world. But there is yes, there is some similarity. Definitely, you can say that. So and many people who had MDMA in their life and they come to Huachuma and they feel the same. They feel like, whoa, it's like I know it.
Mm,
It's like it reminds me there. It reminds me my MDMA trips, but it's a lot deeper and profound and more beautiful. But it
mm,
reminds me that. So yes, there is definitely some kind of connection on molecular level, like an
yeah.
actual, but there is a spirit in the lab.
Mm,
Spirit is nature, and that's what makes the difference. And that's I write in the books. That exactly thing is that in the lab you can do so far. You can get a formula and stick it into your brain and see what happens, and observe the change. But there will be no spirit there.
mm,
The spirit comes from the plants.
mm.
They have sacred plants. They have spirit. They are spiritual medicines,
Yes.
and you feel this connection with spirit and higher intelligence and nature. So there is definitely that gap that cannot be breached between psychoactive substances versus plant medicine. You just
Mm,
cannot be breached
yeah.
because it's not there. You just cannot make this up. So, but it's definitely it's a breach and it's a step towards if you use it right.
Now
You
you
can
are
abuse it too. Go
sure.
ahead.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You can. Oh yeah. You can abuse it. You can lose your mind on ecstasies. I had friends just
Mm-hmm. Yes.
fried. It's like that's not what I want to be. I don't want to be fried. I want to use it in order to understand. But I don't want to fry my brain. I
Yeah.
love my mind. I love my life. But I had
Mm,
friends fried on LSD, easy.
mm,
On ecstasy, even. Yeah, fried.
yeah.
Fried like a chicken, like a Kentucky chicken. No problem. It can
Yeah.
happen. It can happen. Although with the medicine, you're more safe. With the plant medicine, you're more
Sure.
safe. It's like it's just safer to use. I mean, of course, if you abuse plant medicine, it can fry your brain too. But yeah, it's just something that's been used for thousands of years and went through lots of trials
Mm,
and tests.
Yes.
and approvals, and it's a journey of thousands of years. The psychoactive agents, this is just a 20th century thing.
Mm.
This is like a few decades back. That's it.
Right.
So there is no history. There's no history really. What's your history? 60 years from 60s.
Mm.
That's it.
Yeah.
And it's like and less for MDMA probably, although they found it by Merck earlier, but then it really came with Shulgin later. So yeah, it's like 60s, 70s kind of thing, and become more popular even later. 80s, 90s, like when I got to it, it was 90s,
Mm.
So there is not much history of that too, But when you look at the plant medicine like ayahuasca, huachuma, peyote, we're talking thousands of years. We're talking thousands of years before Christ.
Mm.
We're talking another era. This is like a far back. This goes far back. This goes to like ancient pyramids and beyond.
Yeah. Do
This is a
you
long journey.
do you know what the earliest evidence of using Huachuma is?
Yes, I can tell you. Let me just do.
I see your candle went out.
The candles, yeah. I like the candle. I'm sorry, but
It's okay. I've got quite a few out of frame too myself. I've got
man,
4 going over here.
I have 3 lighters. None of them works. You know what I mean? I mean, what do? So, okay, found it. Good. All right. So, yes,
Patches.
actually, Huachuma is the only one that can be traced back
Mm.
in a scientific way. We know that ayahuasca and peyote are also just as old,
Sure.
but you can't really prove it.
Yeah.
Huachuma you can. So the earliest provable, that's very important, provable evidence that is agreed upon, by archaeology, by the mainstream archaeology, it's 3,000 years old. It goes back to Chavin culture.
Mm.
Chavin culture is it's thought to be like a cradle of Indian civilization, and it plays same role that Temple of Apollo in Greece.
Mm-hmm.
It's the Oracle Temple. So it was a place where people did pilgrimage from all over South America to come to drink the medicine and to ask for blessing for the people, bringing gifts and taking the medicine, doing the ceremony, and taking the blessing back to the people. We're talking pilgrimage. We're talking walking for months. There is no cars, you know what I mean? You walk for months in the mountains. This is serious thing. So the Chivin culture, the archaeology says that it kind of begins from 1200 BC
Wow.
to kind of 2nd century BC. So like it's been around for like 1,000 years. BC, before Christ era, and in the temple you see all the carvings are Huachuma carvings, anthropomorphical images with Huachuma in the hands, so it's the Chavin deity. It's a man, half jaguar, half man, holding Huachuma in the hand, and that was in circular plaza where all the shamans were allowed. So that's how you trace it back, and they did the radiocarbon dating, and that's how they came to this. Although here's the problem with that: you cannot radiocarbon stones.
Sure.
It's only organic matter, so you can only prove that people were there at that time.
Yeah.
Okay, so they're wood, so whatever is organic matter can be dated. Now stones cannot be carbon dated, so that means that people were there or could at least be there before that. Because they cannot carbon date before. But what they can carbon date, that's 3,200 years, some of that.
Beautiful.
So that's 3,000 years. So that's like, we know for sure. However, when I go there and drink, and my maestro lives there too, my friend, when we do medicine there, it just feels a lot more ancient than that. It's like really, and the places around where it's like, man, he took me to places that are like ancient caves, prehistoric caves with petroglyphs, I mean, when I was drinking medicine there, I feel like we are back like 40,000 years
Mm.
to the era of like, you know, a beginning of human consciousness, you know. I
I
feel
read
like that.
I read in your book that you wanted to do some traveling ceremonies and go to some of these ancient sites.
Oh, I've done that
Yeah.
during the years. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Oh,
I
cool.
don't do it anymore,
Uh,
but I've done it. Yeah, it's beautiful. Doing medicine in ancient sites and kind of you decode you go decode human history. You go to
mm,
pyramids, you do medicine there, and it's like you just feel the energy there, and you kind of understand what it was all about. And
mm,
different culture had different energies, and there was dark cultures in Peru, and there was bright. So what the Chavin was a bright. It was a
mm,
pure light and consciousness. You know, these people didn't have army. They ruled for 1,000 years,
mm.
1,000 years, 10 centuries. No
Wow.
army. It's like the archaeology didn't find any tools of war. It's more
Mm.
everything ceremonial.
A peaceful
So
culture.
peaceful and yeah, conscious,
Yeah.
just conscious Huachuma consciousness that kind of radiated that energy throughout the continent, and they
Mm.
were never conquered too. They just disappeared at some point.
Mm.
But there is a gap between them and the Mochi culture that came after them with 200 years. So we don't know what happened during these 200 years, but it seems like Chavin culture just kind of disappear, man. They just disappear somewhere.
They got on the mothership.
I don't know. They just gone, man. And then 200 years later, Mochi came.
Uh,
So early Mochi are basically kind of a descendants of Chavin, but these were the bloodiest culture of Peru.
mm.
What these guys did, I mean, this is crazy. This is like a whole other side. That's what happened when you lose the light. You fall into darkness, you know.
Yes.
And these guys were like Mayans in Mexico, bloodthirsty. I mean, gee. And when you go to their pyramids and take medicine there, it's like you feel that. It's
Ooh.
very different energy than Chavin. Chavin, you go, you feel light. You just feel light.
Uh,
You go to Moche, it's all dark, man. It's just
mm.
like you still feel death and blood, and it's like 2,000 years later. Although
Mm.
they came like all the way into like 7th century, but this started like from the beginning of this era. So like maybe 500. I'm not sure, but it's like 1,500 years for sure.
Mm.
So you feel it. So that also shows you another thing that they also use Huachuma,
Yeah. Yeah.
but for completely different purpose, and that was nothing to do with consciousness and light, and nothing. That was completely different energy. So that shows you that the medicine can be used in different ways, and you
Yes.
gives it the color. And I
Mm.
speak about in some of my books before, earlier books, like I explain people that the medicine is just energy. It's
Mm.
like fire, fire is neutral. It's not bad and it's not good. It's what you do with fire makes it good or bad. You can use fire to, cook your food and keep yourself warm and your family. That's good. Or you can cook
Mm.
it to burn down your house. That's
Yes.
not good. Or start a wildfire and destroy the nature and animals and people. That's bad. So it's the intent
Yeah.
of a person that use it makes it good or bad.
Mm.
The medicine is just pure energy.
Mm.
It's like guns. Guns don't kill people. People kill people using guns. A
Mm-hmm.
gun just don't walk on the street and just shoot people.
Mm-hmm.
It's the person who uses it. So it's
Yes.
energy. It's a form of energy that can be used differently.
Yeah.
Same with plant medicine. It's a very important.
I-
So
I'd love to spend a few minutes on your
mhm.
offerings and the services that you are offering, the ceremonies that you're offering. Are you also, because you're cultivating? I know you're cultivating and you have a beautiful farm there on your property. And are you also using things like tobacco and hape and those types of things as well?
Yeah. These are ally plants. We use that in the different times in the ceremonies. We work with coca, with mapacho, which is tobacco,
Mm-hmm.
and rape, also hape, depends
Mm-hmm.
how you pronounce that. It's just easier to say rape, so we use rape. we say rapé. And cacao, these are all good helper plants. These are allies. So if you use it right at a certain time, that can support the experience. So I'm basically teaching people also how to use plants, how not to abuse plants, but use them when you need and what you need and for what purpose, So basically, and of course, we also do ayahuasca here.
Oh, wow.
We host ayahuasca, but it's only for people who already stay with us. Like you can just knock on my door and have ayahuasca. We don't do this. It's a supplement medicine that we provide when the energy is right and there is a demand and people want to engage the medicine. We call. In fact, we just did like a few days ago, like once a month, really. It's a supplement. And the way we do it is very beautiful and special. And the guy who do it, he's a special. He's a hybrid shaman, which means he's a combination of Indian shamanism and ayahuasca shamanism. So it's like two traditions. He's a carrier of two traditions in one, which is very special.
Yeah.
And the way we do it, we do the coca reading before the ceremony. So it's a divination. It's an ancient practice. He can just read you. He just see your life in the coca. You just throw a few coca leaves. He gives you the coca leaves. You blow into it. You throw, and he just sees you there. He tells you, and the coca tells him things about you. And then we bring that into ayahuasca ceremony, and then it becomes more specific, and he sinks into specific. So it's not just ayahuasca. It's specific ayahuasca for you.
Yeah.
So it's very helpful, and the way I've seen that over years is very precise. I mean, the reading is just like, I never believed in this stuff even.
Sure.
It's like if I was told, I was I don't know if that's even true. Maybe you're just imagining stuff. You know what I mean? Yeah. But I'm the one who translates to people. So I see. I don't do the reading itself, although I kind of understand. I can interpret it like him. I can do it. So he does the reading, but I can see what he's going to say, kind of. Maybe halfway there. So just from doing that with him,
sure,
translating to our guests.
Yeah.
And the stories are just amazing. I mean, he can, it's so specific. He says people like, what? It's like, you can know this.
Right.
Like you have a problem in your fourth disc in your bed. Fourth, not third, not fifth, fourth. And like they go, oh yeah, I had an injury like 20 years ago and I had an operation and this is a problem. It's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Boom. So this is just one example.
Sure.
It's real. It's
yeah.
Like, I'm the guy, I'm the skeptic, you know what I mean? I'm not easily believing anything, For me, I'm the Thomas from the Bible who need to kind of stick his finger in the Christ body. I'm that guy, So if I say it's real, it's real. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's how we do it, and and rapé we do every day. I mean, in the ceremony, just once there is a certain point when we come home after the ceremony, and kind of let the energy sit in the garden before the closing of ceremony. We do rapé, and coca. It's usually you can do during the ceremony. Cacao, what people do is during the sharing circles at night, like. When we close the ceremony at 6, we do ceremonies, daytime ceremonies. Okay. So I work with light, with beauty, nature, and light. For me, that's what's important. That's the energy I bring to my life and share with people. That's how I help people heal.
Interesting.
It's light and beauty and nature, It's a major thing. So we start ceremony at 10 in the morning, and we drink here, open the ceremony, and go to the river, sit all day in the river. Just beautiful, magical river. Where you just find your place, nobody bothers you, we don't sit together, we just spread. You find your place, and that's where you are, and I know where to find you when I need to check on you. And then we spend it all day in silence and contemplation, And then when we go home around 5, we come home around 5. And then when we do rapé and kind of discharge energy and chat and kind of, kind of smoothing the whole thing into the closing, and then closing, it's a bridge to nighttime sharing. And after the closing of ceremony, which is around 6, people just stay in the main house, make fire, sit by the fireplace, make food, eat, and then do the sharing circle, which
Cool.
is like an immediate integration of your daily experience. Like what you experience today, people just share heart to heart. Like today I felt this, and I've thought about my mom or whatever, and you share
Yeah.
your stuff, and then that's how that's how you get to know one another and open up, and becoming vulnerable. It's a path to healing.
Mm.
You kind of you remove all your defense, like that's me. So it's safe environment. It's like you can share because everybody does the same. So everybody kind of rely on everybody else to understand their pain and the thing, and it's a lot of healing comes through the sharing circle, which goes until night. I go to my
Mm.
family. We live in the same property, like two houses, my house and guest house.
Mm.
We are together. So we close ceremony. I go to my girls, have my family life, and our guests, they do their life, and they just sit there until like midnight, one, whatever. And when you're tired, you just go sleep.
Mm.
And the next day between ceremonies is free. It's just do what you want. It's like I respect people's privacy. It's like we don't interfere. It's like if you need something, you let me know. But if not, just read books, sit in the garden, walk around, go see Machu Picchu, sightseeing. I mean, we live in the
Mm.
archaeological hub here. It's a
Yeah.
lot of sightseeing and beauty. You can do a lot of things here. So do what you want, really. Just make sure you show up for the ceremony, which is Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, every week, all year round, with
Ah,
exception of rainy season, which is like I take off like 6 weeks in
okay.
the end of January throughout February. It's a rainy month, and it's also kids' vacation. This is our summer here,
Mm.
it's summer vacation. So I prefer to spend this time with my family and not working,
Mm.
until March. So I'm back in nature like 2nd of March, and then we start a whole new healing season again.
So one can come for a 1 day ceremony, or were you? Is
No,
there
no, a week is minimum. Yeah.
1 week? Okay.
Yeah, I don't know what it's like. A week is minimum, but that's like a week is just enough to. You need a week just to feel right in the mountains. You know what
I'm
I mean?
sure. Yeah.
It's a different environment here. It's a different air. It's a different vibe. It feels great, but you just need to kind of settle into this realm.
Yeah.
After coming from a city life, which is complete madness. You need
Right.
time to kind of to feel into it. So in a week you feel good. I
Mm.
mean, some people just feel right away good. It's just like some people have altitude issues. Not much really, but it can happen. Although we have plans for that, we can help you right away. But you still feel a bit like floaty here. Like
Mm.
like in the space kind of thing. So, but it's good. It's a good feeling, really. It's like, and minimum 1 week, and maximum is like I had people living with us like a year,
Wow.
8 months. Like people don't want to live. People just
uh,
come. It's like, okay, I get it. I need more time here.
yeah.
Of course, what you can afford in terms of time, of work, money. It's not cheap. I'm not cheap.
Yeah.
There's a price here, and what you can afford, you can afford. But there are many people who also work online, like distant work. So you can do work between
Mm.
ceremonies. So you
Mm-hmm.
can do part-time. So that's kind of okay. You pay your bills, you have some money coming, so you can stay longer. It depends on people, but a week is just not enough. I mean, it's a good introduction to the medicine, but if you want to go deeper, you need more time.
Mm.
Just whatever that is, you just need more time. But whatever you can do is better than not doing it. That's for sure.
Yes.
You know what I mean? So basically, yes, people just write me and we talk. There is a form you need to fill out
Mm-hmm.
on the side. On my side, it just tells me about you, medical history. It's a screening process. Like it tells me who you are.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to see who you are, and then we talk, and kind of the conversation starts there. And some people talk more, some people talk less, some people don't bother with any readings and watching, they just feel it.
Mm.
Like I had people say like, oh, I just saw your website and I just booked flights, I didn't read it. Okay. I mean, literally like
Yeah.
this. Some people takes months, watching like 100 videos, reading 4 books, and it's okay. I mean, it's good. I encourage it. That's why I put it out there so you can read and you can feel into it,
Yeah.
kind of make an informed decision. But I had people who read 2 chapters of Cactus of Sanity and booked their flights from Australia. I mean, and from far land.
Yes.
So it just depends on you, like where you are in your path. Are you
Mm,
ready for real thing? Are you sensitive enough that you feel that you sense the truth and you're ready to
mm,
jump into deep water? Okay, then you're ready. Then you come and we work. And with the books, it's really, my books are kind of filter as a filter. So
mm.
if you make through my books and you still like the guy who wrote that, you have a good chance to become a friend.
Sure.
And you know what I mean. But if you start arguing with me already there, and it's like, no, what I
Yeah.
mean. Just take
Yeah.
your time and kind of think about life, and then when you find another depth and you can see what I'm saying to be true, then we can talk. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's for mature people. It's like I don't want to hear everybody. I want to
Yeah.
hear right people, right, mature, sincere people who just look for a real spiritual experience that can help them understand themselves and to see themselves in the world in a true light.
Mm,
That's it. It's like that's really my focus on. It's like, I don't really advertise as depression healing or something, although that happens and people come with depressions and we do help them, but that's not really what I do or enjoy doing or want
mm.
to do. It's kind of depressing,
Sure.
it's like, of course, I want to help a person if it's a good person. It's like, man, I want to help you to lift you up, but it's
Sure.
not like this is not a depression clinic. What I mean? It's
Yeah.
like this is spiritual stuff. You
Yeah.
know, so it happens. It can help you for sure,
Yes.
but it's not my focus.
Mm. Well, Sergey, I do have to wrap up, but
Okay.
I appreciate your energy, and you present as a very grounded and well experienced spiritual teacher. I long to make the pilgrimage to you one day, and I really appreciate your time. Thank you so much, man.
Of course, welcome. Well, you're welcome. Thank you for having me,
Of course.
and I'm glad we finally talk. It's been like Instagram here and there,
Yeah.
and then I forgot about you. It's like we talked like 2 years ago,
Uh-huh.
something like that,
Yeah, it
and then
was
I forgot.
2020.
Oh, 4 years, and I saw Instagram. I was like, oh,
Mm.
plant can talk, of course. Like, yeah, we need to talk about plants.
Yes, you speak
you
for the
know.
plants.
Yeah, well, because I speak with the plants, I
Sure.
mean, they're my companions. Well, thank you for having me here, and you're welcome to visit us and whenever it's
Yeah.
possible for you and
Yeah, I would
see
love to
this
do
for
this
yourself.
again. I'd love to do this again sometime too.
Sure.
I feel like we could go for hours, man.
Yeah, yeah. And today I have a bad headache, man. I'm sorry. I'm like
Oh, this
not in
is
the
you with a
best.
headache, huh? Well,
Oh,
you're a
that's just
fantastic guest, man.
man. I'm like with heavy headache. I didn't sleep well. It was like a
Uh,
late night, and it's just like
uh,
I'm like, oh, do I even do it today? My head's just about to explode. So I had some coca tea here to,
uh,
but I'm like barely talking now. I'm kind of foggy, so
yeah, you did great,
I'm
man.
more normally, more energy.
So what is
You
your
know.
website?
Yes, it's huachumawasi.com,
Okay,
and I'll just send you the actual spelling so you can just put it there so
wonderful.
people can spell it right. Huachumawasi.com, and also Instagram huachumawasi.
Uh-huh.
It's pretty active. I just share pictures and videos like from our daily activity here, like so making personal for people as
Mm,
personal as you can get. But definitely please go on my website. There's a lot of material there. Just read through the whole thing, read resources, read the frequently asked questions, books. I mean, make informed decisions.
yes.
If you want to come here, take your time, read, come, it's an expense to come here, so you want to make sure that your money is spent well and you
Hmm.
do that with the right people.
Yeah. Cool. Wonderful. And if you could please send me a photo for the cover as well, and I'll
Mm,
plug links to all your stuff in the description.
okay. Okay, wonderful. I'll
Okay.
do it like in a few minutes.
All right. Sergey
Okay, thank
Baranov,
you.
everyone. Huachuma Wazi. If
Thank you.
everyone could please like, review, and subscribe to the podcast and hit that share button, we would both appreciate that greatly. Peace.